Yo! Welcome to another episode of Gaming with your boy, Mr. C. And guys, today we shake and bake our way down Thunder Road in Nascar Heat 5.
Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C.
Alright guys, so I actually grew up in the South, so I'm all but familiar with NASCAR. However, I haven't played a NASCAR game in about 7 years and haven't played them regularly in about a decade. So I decided it was time to jump in the hot seat and take 4 lefts. Alright guys, so there's actually a few different modes in this game. You have your race now where you just hop in the old cockpit and you just swirl it around. And then you have your online mode where you play against some other chumps. And then you have a career mode. What? A my career, a season mode, a my player, a road to the show, a long shot mode. In a NASCAR game? What have I been missing out on? Alright guys, so the season mode is where I spent most of my time. And you actually start off at the bottom. But you do get to create your own custom driver. Whoo-wee! Look at that guy. We look a lot alike. As you start off at the bottom in the dirt racing, and you can work your way up through the Truck Series, your Xfinity Series, and finally the NASCAR Cup Series. Alright guys, so throughout the career mode, you can actually start your own NASCAR team, or you can join another team. You can also actually make enemies or friends through this like text-style conversation. And you actually get these challenges to like, hey, finish in the top 5 and then in 3 out of the next 5 races. So there's going to be a lot going on here. If you decide to create your own team, you're actually going to be able to spend your money on upgrading your shop so your mechanics have access to better materials, or actually by upgrading your actual mechanics. And these type of things where you actually spend your money have a huge impact when you hit the old concrete. Alright guys, so the season mode is actually one of the best ways to experience this game, as there's a lot of options, from customizing your character to actually how you spend your money and using the mechanics week to week. It's from short tracks to long courses, to even things like racing in the dirt, trucks, or even cars. I really actually enjoyed the season mode. Alright guys, let's get into the racing itself, and with any racing, it's all about the prepping. Kind of like in the kitchen, choppy. So you actually get to start off just about any of the mode options with a practice where you actually get to go around the course and kind of familiarize yourself with it. And then you get into the qualifiers and then the race itself. Now when you're actually in the race, the cars actually have a nice feel to them. You're actually going to feel the differences between driving a truck and a car, or driving on the gravel or in the dirt. You can actually even really get into the nitty gritty of the racing with different assists on or off, different lengths as far as percentage wise, and you can actually throw off the weight distribution and tires. So whether you're a first time rubber burner or you're a long term hardcore beer tapping loyalist, you're gonna feel right at home. Alright guys, on to the graphics. The graphics were just overall just meh. I really don't know how else to put it. There's about 30 different tracks here, and realistically maybe 10 different type of cars. So it was odd to me that the cars themselves, the edges were jagged. The stadiums felt lifeless. There was crowds actually in the stadiums, but they just felt flat. There's cracks on the asphalt, but no real-time burn marks. There was no weather mechanics. There was no replay option for those photo finishes or those spin-outs that you would have. There are, however, 6 different camera options. So for all of those racing types, first or third person, you should feel right at home. Alright guys, on to the sound. The engine revs are going to be there, and they're getting ready to let you know that tar is going to hit that ugly face of yours. And then you have your pit crew over the microphone letting you know, that giving you that hot take of where your opponents are, inside, outside. And there's even this killer soundtrack that's going to make you want to take off your hat and comb out your mullet. No, honestly, the soundtrack is very country pop influence, which is fine if you're into that, but I just wish there was a little bit of variety for the rest of us. I was actually very surprised to see a challenge mode. For anybody who's familiar with some of the Maddens or even the old school WWE games, there's actually these different challenges that may throw you into the race at lap 267, and it's up to you to finish it, or even those classic NASCAR moments that you get to relive. So kudos for this feature. Alright guys, overall, I wasn't really impressed with NASCAR Heat 5. It was missing that polish and that overall detail. The graphics, the sound, and the UI were kind of basic. If you were looking for a racing game, I really honestly could not recommend this game for you. If you're big into NASCAR or looking for a NASCAR game, hey, it's like they say, if you're not first, you're last. Because this is the only option. And that would honestly scratch that itch for you. And at $30, it's not a bad admission price. Overall, I would give this game a 6.75 out of the 10.
Gaming with Mr. C. Gaming with Mr. C.